Alright, let's go ahead and get started opening up our ring box. So the first thing you'll notice is this month's freebie. It's a liquid polish, so it's a really nice all-in-one polish that you can use on the majority of your rings and it'll work fantastically. For those of you that live in an area that you can't receive liquids through the mail, you will be receiving a different extra special freebie this month. So don't worry, you won't just be missing out, you'll still be receiving a freebie, it just won't be the same one. Next, let's go ahead and see what we're going to be dealing with this month's ring. So first up we have our black ceramic ring band, which is just a really nice lightweight band that is really scratch resistant and nice to wear. It's a really nice, comfortable ring in my opinion. Next we have our neon blue glow powder. So this is a really nice vibrant blue daytime and a really nice blue glow as well. And then we have our uncolored white glow powder. This is going to help us achieve the clouds that we're looking to have. It'll provide a lot of contrast between our blue glow powder and our uncolored white glow powder. So they're going to just work really well together. Next we have our Amazonite, which we're going to be using in the clouds, and it's just a really nice subtle blue. It's going to add a little bit of continuity between the blue in the sky and the blue in the clouds. So it's just a nice piece to help us tie the ring together, and it'll add a little bit more flair to the clouds, a little bit of color and texture. And then we have our Sonic Gray Opal, which we're just going to be crushing up extra finely. It's a really nice subtle opal with a really nice sparkle. It's not the most flashy, but it has a really good sparkle and shimmer when it catches the light. So I really like to work with it because it's a little bit more understated. Our first step is going to be to crush up the opal. We're trying to just achieve a really nice fine powder. We're going to be adding it to the neon blue glow powder. So we just want to make sure that it's a small enough dust so that when we add it to the glow powder, it's adding a lot of sparkle and shine, but it's not really overpowering the blue. We want to make sure that it stays really nice and blue, but there's just a nice sparkle to it as well, because this is going to create the base for our ring, and this will allow us to create a really nice deep blue and create that summer sky that we're looking for. After I mix it with the glow powder, we're going to go ahead and add it to the ring. So to do this, I'm using our medium CA adhesive, and then I'm actually going to be using a paintbrush just to spread that out all throughout the inlay channel and make sure it's a really nice, even amount of our medium CA all the way across the channel. So I just do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and just dump on this mixture on top of it and make sure that I cover up the entire ring. I'll then wet everything with our super thin CA adhesive, check for any spots where you can still see the blank, and then I'll hit it with accelerator once I'm happy with the fill level on the inlay channel. We're just looking to create a background, so we want to make sure that we hit it with accelerator so that when we add more materials and color pigments, we don't get any mixing. We want these to create some pretty distinct objects almost. We're looking for the clouds to stand out from the background is what we're hoping for. That's why we add the accelerator before we add anything else so that they don't mix. Next we'll begin forming our Amazonite clouds. So to do that I'm going to just put a dab of our thick CA adhesive, and then I'll place a piece of the Amazonite, and then I'll hold it into place with our uncolored white glow powder. So I'm just going to pour that on there, and since we've already added accelerator to the base, this will cure the thick glue fairly quickly, so you want to move fairly fast, and I just do that all in sequence. I add the dab of glue, put a piece of Amazonite on it, and then I cover it with the uncolored white glow powder before I move on. That way the glue doesn't cure, and we can achieve the cloud look that we're going for. So as you're doing this, I tried to just make sure that it was fairly random, doing them from one side to the other, some close together, some a little further apart, just to create that look of some really nice fluffy clouds floating through the sky. Once I've gone all the way around, finishing up with the opal add-in that I'm going for, I'll go ahead and hit it with a little bit of accelerator just to hold everything into place so that the opal doesn't drip as I add more super thin CA adhesive. We don't want it to come out of the ring as we're building up the rest of this channel. Next, I decided to add a little bit more of the crushed up opal. I kept a little bit on the side just in case I wanted a little bit more opal and sparkle in the ring. So I'm going ahead and adding it now. So I'm doing that by just using a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and add the crushed up opal now using a little bit of our CA adhesive, just the medium. And I'm just putting a little bit of medium in the channel that's left from the clouds. And I'm just going to sprinkle on some of the opal dust. This will just add a little bit more sparkle and color to the ring. So after the layer with the medium CA adhesive has cured a little bit, I'll go ahead and do layers of super thin CA adhesive to fill in the rest of the ring blank. I'm just doing this so that we have some really nice depth between the blue background, the clouds, and the added opal. I really like the look of these rings that have a lot of depth to them. I think it creates a lot more dimension. And when you look at it, you can see a lot more layers and you can see a lot of opal that catches the light at different angles. So I think it's really cool when you can incorporate this depth and dimension to your ring. After I've done several layers of the super thin CA adhesive and I've allowed it to cure, we'll go ahead and start with the Dremel. I'm just going to use my 80 grit Dremel bits and I'm going to take everything back down flush with the ring blade. Once everything is flush, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of hand sanding with our 220 grit sandpaper. I always like to do this after I Dremel just to make sure that everything is level and flush and there's no discoloration or imperfections that I've missed before I keep going and I finish it. So we'll do a little bit of 220 sanding, wet sanding, and then I'll dry the ring off and look for holes or other imperfections that I can fix at this step. Once I'm happy with how the ring is looking thus far, we'll go ahead and do another layer of super thin CA adhesive just to ensure that we have all of those holes and low points filled. Once we've allowed that to cure, I'll go ahead and just hand sand again, 220, 500, 1000. Those are the three that I generally use. I like to differ the direction that the lathe is spinning and wet sand and switch out my pieces of sandpaper frequently to ensure that there's no buildup of debris. That way we get a really nice smooth finish. Alright, last but not least, we'll go ahead and use our Step 2 Astrotech polish. This is just a really nice all-in-one polish, especially with these softer materials and the layered rings like this. We can use just a Step 2 polish and just get a really nice shine to the ring. If there were harder materials or the glow powder came all the way to the surface on a lot more of it, I would consider using all 3 steps or maybe a buffing wheel just to make sure that we have a good shine. But with these materials and this style of ring, the Step 2 is all you really need. Once I've polished it up, let's go ahead and take a look at this magnificent ring. I really like how this one turned out. I think we achieved the look of clouds floating by, and I really had a good time making this one. So thanks so much for watching. Enjoy making it.